Redditors who have a job that requires you to go into strangers' homes. What is the craziest thing you've seen? Actually today I saw something that made me laugh. I'm a postman so didn't go inside, but as I was walking up to the house, I could see through the window. There was a guy riding a mobility scooter in the living room on his own. He was riding it in a circle waving his arm above his head, as if he was waving a lasso about. It was quite awkward when he saw me and looked pretty embarrassed. When I was delivering pizza, I went to a house and there were delivery instructions to go downstairs because the guy was in a wheelchair and didn't want to go through the effort of making his way upstairs to pay for the pizza. So when I get to this guy's house, the front door is wide open. The TV is on with very loud volume. I'm saying hello, I'm here, and not getting an answer. I go inside and look for the stairs. I was so confused because as I was walking through the house, it looked like someone was just upstairs. I'm still saying hello, pizza's here as I'm walking downstairs. Still no answer. Finally, I walk into a room and sure enough there is a guy in a wheelchair, from what I could see pretending to be sleeping with really fake snoring sounds. So I go over and wake him up and he acts all startled. I'm like, hey, sorry for waking you, but is it cash or credit? This guy in the wheelchair tells me I forgot to grab it, but my cash is upstairs. Can you grab it for me? I go up and grab the cash, which was conveniently the perfect amount for the pizza. Bring it back downstairs and this guy is sitting in his wheelchair. I ask if this is the right money and he says yeah. Then he says, oh, I forgot the tip, and stands up out of the wheelchair, hands me $10 from his back pocket. Like what the fuck? After I got back to the store, everyone was asking me how it went, wanting to listen to my story, as if they were expecting something crazy. Turns out this guy was a regular and just fucks with the delivery drivers every time they go there. It was an inside joke that you can't be a part of until you experience it, and no one tells the drivers that haven't gone there yet. As weird as this story was, the worst time this guy fucked with me was when he paid my $30 in dimes, nickels, and quarters. There were even some nuts and bolts in the mixture. TL. Doctor, pizza delivering to a guy in a wheelchair, and he fucks with me to continue a tradition at my pizzeria. EMT here. We get to go into people's homes on a daily basis. I'm relatively new and haven't seen anything too crazy. Although before I started doing this, I didn't realize the amount of squalor and filth some people live in, also people who have just totally given up on life. I'll tell you a story that happened to a pair of medics about a year ago. It's famous at my agency. Anri, they get called to a residence. Neighbors complaining of loud noises. Medics get called to stage while police enter and see what's going on. A woman of about 40 is completely naked, bloody, and holding a severely premature baby who was apparently hanging on to life. The first on scene medics take the baby to the hospital and another unit is called to transport the mother. They get taken to same hospital. The baby dies during transport, unfortunately, as the medics are writing up their reports and decompressing. The doc comes out and asks where the mother is. The medics who transported the mother stated that it was the lady who arrived shortly after the baby. Doc explains that upon examination of the mother's vagina, that it was not the vagina of a woman who had just given birth. Upon investigation of the house by police, the mother wasn't in fact the mother and had cut the baby out of her pregnant neighbor's stomach and hid the body in a lock cellar in the basement. One of the responding medics still works for the company and is a completely normal guy. Apparently the other guy found a new line of work. When I was at college, I did random jobs for people on Craigslist for cash. Most of it involved building IKEA furniture, which people are happy to pay for. One day I go into this couple's house who've just moved in, and I get to building their bookshelf, TV cabinet etc. in the living room. I'm busy doing my thing, but I can't help but notice quite a few different people walking past me every few minutes. All walking towards the bedroom, none coming back. So I'm obviously thinking to myself that this is just another casual afternoon orgy. I go to investigate out of pure curiosity, thinking that I'll just say that I was ready to build the bed. I opened the door expecting to see a bunch of naked people sucking and fucking and licking and dicking. But what I saw was much more disturbing. They were all fully clothed, completely silent, cuddling on the mattress. It was a Craigslist cuddle group. I felt so dirty and confused. I'm relating this on behalf of my husband who doesn't Reddit. He does VAC. Get a call one day to this house we've been doing service at 4 years according to boss. I've never heard of the guy. Boss seemed kind of funny when he gave me the call. Customer isn't home and I'm supposed to go around checking vents, changing filters, doing maintenance. I walk in and there's dicks everywhere. 8 by 5 foot pictures of dicks on the walls. Hand blown glass dick sculptures, dick lamps, dick throw pillows. Hell, even the china cabinet was full of dick dishes. I saw a casserole that the handles and lid top were tiny dicks. So many dicks. When I went in the kitchen there's a 5-gallon jug of lube sitting where the hand soap would be at the sink. Dude even had a dick-shaped paper towel holder. Where did he even find half this stuff? Every kind of knickknacks you could imagine he had a dick-knack version of. I've never seen anything like it in my 20 years of doing this job. Whatever floats your boat I guess. But personally I'd get tired of being stared down by dicks every time I turned around. When I was delivering pizza for Pizza Hut I delivered to a very shady part of town. It's funny because most of the people who answered calls would tell them we didn't deliver to that area, but I always would tell them we did, and I'd offer to take the delivery. I grew up in a rough area and I think it's shitty to deny people their pizza, so I normally never went into a person's house, as that was forbidden. But again, I'm not someone who really scares easily, so if someone asked me to come in, I would. It wasn't really uncommon. On this particular night I went into this very rundown house. There was a guy behind a screen door who was like come on in, so I did. I walked in to see about 7 to 8 people sprawled out in the floor and on bean bags, nodding in and out of consciousness. It was becoming very apparent to me that all these people were on heroin. The guy who paid for the pizza seemed really normal and perfectly aware of his surroundings, but just happened to be staying in a house full of heroin addicts. And here's the interesting thing, I think the pizza was $13 something, and he gave me a $20 and told me to keep the change. Good times. I installed central vacuuming for a while. Boss told me some stories. He found over $10,000 cash in some old lady's wall. Now he is an honest guy, so of course he wanted to return it, but he didn't want to give her a heart attack, so he breaks the news gently. Turns out she knew, because her late husband used to leave shit like that around the house, but she didn't remember where it was. It is always Christmas at some person's house. Always. They have at the 24th of July 365 Christmas room, bunkers and stockpiles of food. So many of those. They always pay cash. When I was delivering pizzas in high school I delivered to a house and knocked on the door. When the door opened I was staring at my estranged father whom I haven't seen in like 10 years. He was drunk, didn't recognize me, shortchanged me, and didn't tip. I deliver pizza, and one time I was delivering to this house, and out of the corner of my eye, I see a ring-tailed lemur, just sitting on the floor, and it really caught me off guard and I stopped what I was saying, and said is that a lemur? And the guy was super casual about it, and let me pet it, snap some pictures, and gave me an extra tip, because I knew it was a lemur. I got back to the store, and told everyone, and they were like oh that guy? He has a kangaroo too. About 70% of my customers are elderly retired. Went into one 96-year-old's house and found a shrine, a for real shrine, to Ronald Reagan. Not as an actor, but as a politician. I mean, she digs the dude. I was an aide for a state politician. She was doing a constituent visit pertaining to an upcoming bill and liked to have someone with her just in case. The guy ran a reptile rescue operation, mostly concerned with exotic pets that escaped/were abandoned, and his entire basement was outfitted with small reptile habitats for temporary storage. He had pools with small crocodiles, a few of those massive pythons that are so often used in conservation public outreach stuff, and even a little workbench where he repaired the shells of turtles that had been hit by cars. I'm a caseworker and most of the time I'm required to work with my clients in their homes. One day I got to meet a new client, a 17-year-old girl/drug addict. When I approached the front door I noticed a foul stench and lots of what seemed to be dirt on the doormat. When she opened the door the stench got worse, and when I stepped in I felt something sticky under my shoe. The whole fucking floor was covered with rabbit shit, piss and hay. Apparently she took in 2 rabbits in a couple of years ago and now she had about 30 of them shitting and pissing all over her apartment. Her laundry was piled up on the floor and already had white marks on them from the rabbit piss. The shower was covered in shit as well. Some bunnies nested in the washing machine and one died behind the damn kitchen. My colleague and I helped clean up this mess over weeks. Found one more dead rabbit along with a couple of used needles and condoms. I usually see a lot of slightly fucked up things, dirty homes, the carefully placed sex toy and lubricant on a podest, nudes, hidden cameras, sex rooms and weird shrines for famous people. But damn, I'll never forget this bunny shithole. Well, not really too crazy, but it got me out of work for a day. Used to do vac and went into a customer's house to tape up vents. Have to do this to test the air pressure in the system. Well, in one room he had a massive table for tabletop games, walls covered in Marvel posters and Magic the Gathering cards everywhere. Started talking to the guy and he ends up calling my boss asking him if I could stay downstairs to explain what was going on throughout the day. As I was new, my boss didn't really like this idea, but the customer gets what the customer wants. Ended up playing WH-40K and MTG all day and get paid for it, including overtime. Best work day ever. Not crazy, but rage inducing. Until recently, I worked as a repair tech for a telecom company. A few years ago I was called out to a house on one of the town's more rundown estates. I knocked the door, and it was answered by a little girl. It was immediately obvious that they had very little money, no carpet on the floor, shoddy paintwork and a bit of a smell. The girl was maybe 4 or 5 and really sweet. However, she obviously hadn't had a wash in a while. Her hair was matted, and her clothes were filthy. She went to fetch her father, who guided me into the lounge, where his phone master socket was. The socket happened to be located behind the biggest flat screen TV I had ever seen, underneath which was an Xbox 360, PS3, surround sound system and Sky HD receiver. I was fucking livid that this little girl had to live in squalor, while her fuckwit father spent thousands on home entertainment. The motherfucker chain smoked the entire time I was there too. It turned out the fault with his line was down to his own internal wiring, for which we would usually raise a call-out charge. I waived it, because rather than punish the father I couldn't help but feel that it wouldn't be him who suffered. I'm in Rada college, and I had to enter someone's apartment for a health and safety inspection. He didn't hear us knock and enter the apartment because his music was very loud, but suddenly he started singing in a Batman-esque tune, nana 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 motherfucking grandmire. Not me personally, but a co-worker. I work for a property management company specializing in low-income housing, including Section 8. A few weeks ago we had the manager of one of our properties call in freaking out because she was inspecting a unit and found that the guy was housing a full-sized fucking alligator in his second bedroom, complete with kiddie pool and everything. The funniest part of the picture I was shown was that the idiot resident put a little 3-foot tall metal fence around it thinking he could contain it. The picture my coworker showed me was the gator with the mangled remains of that gate. This was in a southwestern state and the animal control wouldn't come out because they said they weren't equipped to handle gators. Not really crazy, just kind of amusing. My dad's a carpenter, and I used to come with him and help with installations in his customers' houses. We were putting in a cabinet for this nice Jewish couple inside their study. As I was passing by the computer on the desk, I noticed that there was a web page open, and I couldn't help but laugh a bit at its name, goiwatadil.com. My dad used to own an apartment complex. I was with him once when we went in this guy's apartment to fix something. His apartment was maybe 500 SQ/FT. Contents consisted of one mattress on the floor, a windsurfing board that took up half the apartment, and a lot of random but well organized junk/trash, including a stack of at least 1 year's worth of empty shredded mini wheat boxes. Like he was a very clean hoarder or something. Anyway, I was about 8 or 9 at the time and I distinctly remember this as the first time I realized that people are fucking weird, man.